Big, beautiful backends, robotic dinosaurs. It's a great show this week in TechStars. That's right now. Hey everybody, it's David Cohen again. I'm the founder and CEO of TechStars, and this is Claire. Woohoo! She is hyped up on Dayquil right now.
Yes, I got the South by Southwest plague.
You did the SARS from South by. But you're here, you're alive, you made it in, you're a trooper.
The show goes on.
That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about the show today. We have Sravish from Convey. He's one of the founders of Convey, which is an awesome company out of the Boston program.
Yep.
We're going to interview him, learn some lessons. I was at South by. I promised not to talk a lot about South by. We're also going to show the FakeGrimlock interview.
Yeah. Probably my favorite part of the Austin event.
Which was freaking weird. So stand by for that. Hopefully you can hear the construction that we have outside right now. And so it's really wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
You may hear things later in the show such as water dribbling around or...
Pipes being drilled.
Yeah, that's not us peeing. That is in fact just construction. We're building out the Boulder office.
We are, for the Boulder program.
We're getting ready for all that. So we're adding some conference rooms and things. We're in a new office here in downtown Boulder.
Yep.
Where the studio is located.
Yes, the TechStars penthouse.
That is correct. Is that what we're calling it?
From bunker? Well, I was trying to get penthouse to catch on.
Yeah, we should try. That could work. What is happening around TechStars? We have lots of stuff going on.
We do. Yesterday we all sat in on the Boulder selection meeting.
Yeah, that
Really
was top
amazing.
secret. You hear the song going on there? See, with this, we just do it. It's a one-take thing.
Yep.
Sorry about the construction if you're hearing it. The selection meeting in Boulder, yes, we can't say who the selection people were, but you did get to sit in on it, and we have to kill you if you tell anyone.
Correct.
Don't use that weapon that you have with social media to talk about that stuff. What did we look at, like 70 or 80 companies really closely that were all really interesting? Out of how many that applied? Do you remember the number for Boulder?
With Boulder plus the people that had applied to other program locations that also applied to Boulder, over 1,200.
So we had to consider 1,200 applications for 10 spots, sort of hitting that 1% acceptance, which is crazy.
A wealth of information.
Totally. So we got down to, 25 or 30 companies, somewhere in that neighborhood, and that was incredibly difficult, as always. There were so many interesting companies to look at, but this time it felt like there were even more.
It's bittersweet.
I know it's, you now get the $100,000, TechStars is really out there, so the application count keeps going up, but amazingly, unfortunately, the quality seems to be going up as well. So we're just seeing a lot of interesting stuff that's really different. And I think you probably saw on the finalist list that there's some pretty innovative ideas there. It's not just sort of run-of-the-mill stuff. Yep. So we're excited about that. What else is happening? We have a couple of events. I'm keynoting Rails conference.
Rails conference, yeah. Tell me where that is.
I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what Rails is. Someone told
Something
me once.
About trains.
Yeah, it's like some train conference.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going to do a keynote there, so I'm
Is
excited
that in
about
April?
that. That is the 23rd of April.
Cool.
It is in Austin, Texas. Have you heard of it?
Never been.
Yep.
People can buy tickets to that, or how does that work?
I find myself going to Austin more.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, there's just Austin's got stuff going on. We had
Things
Josh
are
Baer
happening.
on the show. We went to South by, going down for Rails conference.
Yep.
So yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I'm keynoting there, so come listen to me blabber about TechStars and whatnot. Yep. We are also accepting applications for Seattle.
We are.
Right now. The Boulder application deadline has come and gone. The last program in 2012 that you can apply for that's been announced for shadowing is Seattle.
Yep.
Maybe there'll be another program, not a new city, but maybe we'll...
If you want to be a founder within TechStars in 2012, it's Seattle or bust.
Seattle or bust, yes. Is that a reference to any kind of female anatomy, or what do you mean by that?
It was a reference to Backend as a service.
Right, we'll get to that, we'll get to that. Project Goats.
Amazing.
Shelby, these guys crack me up.
Yeah.
This guy Reese, is he even for real?
He's not even for real.
This guy's a hustler, I've heard. Go to projectgoats.com, G-O-A-T-S.
So it's an acronym for Grimlock Overtakes Austin, Texas with Shelby TV.
If you don't know who FakeGrimlock is, you are missing out.
Where have you been?
Go check it out. We're going to actually show you FakeGrimlock's interview with me. which is about a 5-minute interview at South by towards the end of the show after we talk to Convey. So.
Mostly you want to go to twitter.com/FakeGrimlock, and it has to be all in capitals.
It has to be, because the internet doesn't understand lowercase.
Yep.
That's the news. I don't have anything else to share with what's going on right now. Did I forget anything?
I don't think so.
Just SendGrid. But it's here. People see it. They know that SendGrid is a sponsor of the show.
We joked about getting lower back tattoos of SendGrid, and they made temporary ones for the South by conference. And I was equal parts dismayed and impressed.
You start things. You're a trendsetter. At least it's not face tattoos. That would be weird.
Although I did see one on someone's head. I think he had a few drinks.
Yeah.
He was bald.
Well, let's talk to Convey. Let's see what's going on with that company.
Okay, sounds good.
We are really psyched to have the founder of Convey joining us by Skype to talk about big, beautiful backends. Welcome to the show, Sravish. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. Cohen. I'm doing very well.
It's great to see you, even if only by remote telecon.
You should come to Boston more. We all want.
You know, I'm coming to Boston in like a week. I think I'll be there next week, so it'd be fun to catch up in person. Tell people a little bit about yourself and about Convey so they have a bit of background on your company.
A little bit about me. I went to school at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm a proud Longhorn, did a computer science degree, and got into the whole area of grid computing, where we did distributed computing across millions of PCs all across the world. And I took some of those core concepts and said, how do we apply that to mobile? And when I talked to a lot of mobile developers, they said, we want to build mobile apps, but we don't know or don't want to build a backend for those mobile apps. I said, aha, I can go solve that problem. We can be the backend for millions of mobile apps that are going to get built. So Convey is the first backend as a service platform for mobile developers, and we make it really easy for them to set up and operate backends for their mobile applications.
And that's Convey, KINVEY.com. How did you come up with that name? It's a great URL, nice and short.
I wanted to come up with a name that meant communication, because in essence, we were taking data from one place and moving it to another. And I opened a thesaurus and I looked at words for speak and communicate. In fact, during that period, on a side note, I noticed the word Twitter, and that's how I realized how Twitter came up with their name. And I also saw the word Convey, but obviously convey.com was taken, and I started playing with that word Convey and came up with Kinvey, K-I-N-V-E-Y, and it stuck and got the URL for $4. That was great.
$4.
Awesome. And kin means family and friend and familiar.
That's right. Kin could be family, so we're offering a family of communication services. Kin is also part of Connect, so very fast and immediate communication services.
All right, people, you're overthinking this now.
It's
a good name, but let's not get carried away with
I love
ourselves.
words.
So I remember during TechStars, you went through the program in Boston, obviously, and I remember this whole backend as a service, sort of, I mean, you coined that term, right? And now you hear it out there. I've seen more and more companies that are sort of playing with this idea of, consolidating APIs and making it simpler to access it at a sort of meta layer. Tell us a little bit about this whole backend as a service and how that evolved in that ecosystem that's out there now.
Yeah, in fact, when we got into the program in Boston in March of 2011, our idea and our vision was also to do API aggregation. So we looked at the complexity of building mobile apps and said, mobile developers want to connect to social APIs, they want to connect to location APIs, etc. And they're all different. And so we were going to tie all those APIs in. But during the program, when we started doing a lot of customer discovery with about hundreds of mobile developers, what we realized was, first of all, there wasn't a big business in just doing API aggregation, so being that meta layer across APIs. And there were a lot of companies that were trying to do it. Some of them were not successful. But what we realized was the mobile developer, first and foremost, wanted a data hub for their application. So moving data from the app to a backend and then getting data from a backend into the app. And then that data changing, that they want to connect to different other APIs. And so we came up with this term backend as a service with the premise that first and foremost, we wanted to be the data hub for mobile apps. and then based on that data changing, enable business rules that could then connect to a Facebook or a Google Places or an OpenStreetMap and pull and push information to those third-party cloud APIs based on the changes within the data. And it became a market now. I'm really happy to see that there's a lot of competition, there's a huge ecosystem, and there are a lot of companies coming and saying they're the backend as a service for game developers, or they're the backend as a service for web developers, and so on.
I remember the whole, like, we tried to come up with the acronym to make it badass.
Yeah.
We didn't quite get there.
My favorite story there, David, was when you said, you guys are doing cloud backend as a service, so you should call it CBAS.
That sounds like something I would say.
That was funny for us.
But you're very transparent on your website about the ecosystem. Do you want to tell us a little bit about the display that you have on your site?
One of the things we talked about at TechStars quite a bit with Katie Ray, with Reed, who's also part of the TechStars program there helping us, was our goal as a startup was to take this nascent market and make it a thing. Because one of our issues was that, cloud is such a buzzwordy term that all the big cloud players claim they do a little bit about what we wanted to do. There were different cloud APIs out there that were saying they could do a little bit of what we wanted to do. And so how do we really create an ecosystem and define that what we're doing is very different and very big? And so as part of that initiative, one of the mentorship advice that I got was start reaching out to people that are your competitors and start working with them and creating an ecosystem. And that's what we ended up doing. So we started to define backend as a service as an ecosystem. We started, and I've met all the CEOs of most of the companies in the space. We're all talking about backend as a service, and we really built it into this ecosystem that developers know now.
I mean, there's something to kind of being the thought leader. I mean, you're sort of you almost created the industry. I know you wouldn't take credit for that, but you created this sort of notion, and other people have followed along, and you're sort of a great thought leader. On the blog at convey.com, you've got this ecosystem map, and you've sort of, championed a lot of what's going on in the space, so it's pretty exciting. The couple of things I want to get to that I know you've learned a lot about and your own experience as an entrepreneur that maybe can help other people. One of those things is sort of the importance of having mentors around you, and you talk about that. You have this other blog, I think it's called mentorbacked.com, is that right?
That's right.
Mentorbacked. So what is that all about, and tell us how you think about having mentors involved in your company.
I was fairly new to the Boston area. I moved here in 2009, and I was finding my feet with the ecosystem, meeting entrepreneurs here, meeting investors here. And one of the things I was struck by was how the benchmark of being a startup was being a venture-backed startup to go raise money from venture capitalists. And one of my aha moments at TechStars was, if you build a great company, you will find investors, but what is truly going to help you get better and learn what you don't know is working with amazing mentors who've sort of been there and done that and can give you different perspectives. And they can hear what your problems are and give you advice. And then trust you to decide whether you want to take that advice or not. And during the TechStars program, we were surrounded by people like that, genuine people that wanted to help and wanted to build the next set of great startups. And for me, I said, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about being mentor-backed and talk about how that should be the standard for all of us as entrepreneurs, not just being venture-backed. And at the same time, I also wanted to bring out stories of great mentors in the Boston ecosystem and entrepreneurs who've been affected by these great mentors. And so,
can you share with us some of the mentors that were most helpful for you when you were during the duration of the TechStars program?
Absolutely. Obviously, there's Katie and Reed who run the whole program for us. To this day, even yesterday, I had a question around somebody I wanted to hire, and our new office is a block away from the TechStars office, and I walked across and spent 15 minutes with Katie, and that was all I needed. And then apart from them, folks like Fred Destin, who ended up investing in Convey, Richard Dale, who's at Sigma Partners, did not invest in us, but still helps us on an ongoing basis. Will Herman, who's a very successful entrepreneur. David as well, and then Brad Feld. Still takes time.
I was waiting for that one. I was like, come on now. I was there a little bit. I mean, not that much. I live in Boulder, not in Boston, but cool. Thanks for mentioning me. The check's in the mail.
One of the things I appreciate about working with you, David, is all you need is to talk to me, or in general, you can talk to us for like 10 to 15 minutes, and you're able to figure out the essence of what we're trying to answer, and then you give us your 2 cents very quickly, and it's efficient. It's really, really great, and it's really efficient.
Yeah, despite having a web show that's weekly, I actually don't like to talk, and I'm introverted, so I would much rather just kind of get to the point and not have a 4-hour conversation.
At the same time, David's really good at making you feel like it was your idea to start with. He just cuts through the
No, it probably was. What I do is I play back what you're saying and I pretend it's advice. That's my trick.
Throws his voice.
Yeah. We call that the Socratic method. The other thing that's mentor backed. I think it's a really important concept. I think you can be a bootstrap startup, and if you have mentors, you're much more likely to be successful. I think. I mean, I'm obviously a huge proponent of mentorship, but I'm going to check out that blog a little bit more and subscribe to it. I think other people should too. We'll throw the URL up like right here.
Mentorbacked.com.
And so people can see it. That's creating work for Lamar. We like to do that. The other thing that I think is important to talk about is hiring. I mean, you guys have been through the trials and the wars of how difficult it is to hire people. So share some of that experience with the audience as well.
Hiring was really hard for us because when we started growing today, we quickly realized there's a lot of traffic hitting our backend as a service platform, lots of apps out there. Those apps are being used by tens of thousands, and in some cases a couple of million users each. So we had to solve problems of scale, we had to solve problems of security. So we needed people on our team who've kind of been there, done that, people that have worked at big companies and built platforms at scale. And so those people are experienced, they're slightly older, they're expensive. I have to convince them to come and work for a startup. And so initially this was a thing I never thought about. I was like, hiring was the last thing on my mind. But as I've gone through the process, and during TechStars, one of the things we started to do as a company was use our brand and build our brand to directly reflect the kind of people that we wanted to hire. So we started talking about things that we did at Convey on a daily basis, places that we go to. All of us started getting active in social media. We started talking about the hard technical problems that we solve within Convey, because one of the things I realized is that the people who want to come and work with you are people that want to solve really, really hard problems. And so I think many startups don't do that. They don't talk about the serious technical challenge, serious market challenge.
Yeah.
Your jobs page on Convey is definitely one of the best I've seen in terms of portraying the company culture and kind of expressing the feel of.
The homepage spent a lot of time on it. So I think that has translated in us being quite successful in terms of hiring great people from companies like from Akamai and Raytheon and AMD, really experienced people, both on the sales side, the marketing side, and of course on the engineering side as well. Yeah,
this is probably the number one piece of advice that I give people, in their time in hiring, is you have to be a thought leader and share your passion for the thing you're working on, and you'll connect with a subset of people that are out there that have the same interests.
So just communicating that already.
Yeah, just being out there talking about it, being sort of at the forefront of that world, as you are, and I think that really helps. The other thing that I've just noticed in general is, and there was a good discussion about this at the launch conference in San Francisco where I was out there judging just last week, and people were talking about how really with developers specifically, it's almost like as important as funding, is figuring out how to find that talent, because the developers are now picking the startups that they want to work for, right? And so you have to rise above the noise, and of course TechStars is one way to do that, being a thought leader is another way to do that, but
attracts like.
You have to have a way of being better than everyone else out there because there's so much going on.
In fact, I would also add, David, that at Demo Day, after we finished our TechStars Demo Day presentation, one of the investors that invested in Convey came up to me and said, I'd like to invest. And I said, but you don't know anything about me. And he said, well, you seem like a funny guy, you've got a little bit of charisma, you can tell a good story, I think you'll be able to hire great people, and that's why I'm in. And I thought that was an excellent benchmark on how you should evaluate teams and companies from an investment standpoint.
Certainly a key skill. I mean, it's one of the really key roles of the CEO, right? Is hire a great team.
Yep.
Right. I mean, that's one of the most important things you can do. So you mentioned your demo day pitch. I know you guys have we're going to roll to that in just a minute. Before we do, I know you guys have a big release coming up. This is coming out in March, but early April, I think, is the target for sort of the next version.
Yeah, so pretty much throughout the month of April and the first half of May, pretty much every week we'll be announcing a whole bunch of new features, general availability of Convey, as well as opening Convey out to everyone. We've been working with a few thousand developers so far. We've got great feedback in terms of customer discovery. We improved the platform quite a bit over the last 6 months and ready for prime time. So we'll be opening it up very soon and announcing a bunch of integrations and partnerships with a lot of big companies that are connecting on there.
Awesome, very exciting. I know people want to check that out at convey.com.
Yeah.
We're going to watch the pitch from Demo Day. You had a pretty good result after that pitch. Well, just tell us really quickly what the data was on your funding round that's public.
It was a great time. We were very fortunate to have one of our mentors, Fred Dustin, lead our seed round. So he introduced me at Demo Day. And as part of his introduction, he said that he would be investing $1 million out of our seed round investment. And that created amazing buzz for the company. And we ended up closing a $2 million seed round that we announced on August 4th. So about a month and a half after Demo Day ended.
So suffice it to say that this pitch worked on some level. Let's go ahead and watch the pitch from Convey from Demo Day in Boston, and then we'll come back and just get Sravish's last reaction to it. So let's roll that pitch. All of this magic could not happen without our sponsors. One of them is Twilio. They're amazing. Have you ever figured out what Twilio stands for?
I think I did recently, but I'll let you. I
don't know. Like I always like SXSW is South by. And
yeah.
Everything's an acronym, so I'm sure it's an acronym.
What do you think it is?
It's something like telephones with internet is awesome. Or no, that's an O.
I think it's
the Boston way of saying it.
It is. This week is Ladies in Outfits.
This Week in Ladies in Outfits.
Yeah.
It's a new show on the This Weekend Network. Mm-hmm. We want to thank Twilio. They make apps, help you make apps that communicate. If you're a developer, you want to build an app that communicates via phone, via text message, you got to use the acronym Twilio.
They're awesome.
They are awesome.
That's not the kind of backends we're going to talk about that Fred was talking about. You know, sometimes I look at my mobile phone and I feel that some of the apps that run on it have superpowers. They connect me to social networks, they give me location information, they let me buy and sell things, and they give me access to all sorts of data. But most of the apps on our phones aren't that way. They're pretty boring. They don't connect to any backend, and therefore they're not very dynamic. You kind of use them and you never use them again after that. The reason for that is that the developers building these applications never built the backend because it's expensive, it takes a whole lot of time, and frankly, most people building mobile apps today don't have the skills to do it. Convey solves this problem. We make it ridiculously easy for mobile developers to set up, use, and maintain a backend for their mobile apps. To put it a slightly different way, we're the phone booth in the cloud that takes an ordinary mobile application and turns it into a total badass. A lot of the successful apps have already figured this out. Let's take, for example, Instagram. Instagram is not a standalone application that just lets you take photos. It's an application that takes those photos, sends it to a backend, and then distributes those photos to various social networks. It's the backend that made Instagram truly successful and viral. But why aren't developers who are building mobile apps building backends? Here's why. Because building and operating a backend sucks. If you were a mobile developer and if you wanted to build a backend today, you'd probably go to one of your popular cloud platforms, and then you'd install it, configure it, start writing your code, testing it, and then you'd deploy it in a secure and scalable fashion. That's the theory, but really, most people don't do it today. And then if they wanted to add additional features to it, they'd have to figure out a whole plethora of APIs and then connect their backend to all these cloud services. And then for their second app and third app and fourth app, they'd have to do this again and again and again and again. Let me say it one more time. Building and operating a backend is a pain in your backend. Katie didn't let me say ass, so I had to say backend. Here's our solution. Pick any app SDK of your choice to build your app so that you can run it on any platform. We support everything. Start writing your app, come to Convey, model your backend needs, and based on the modeling, we auto-generate your entire backend for you, including all the APIs and libraries you need. You grab those APIs, drop it into your code, you're done. It should be that simple. Model, grab, go. We call it backend as a service. Let's take a real example. Let's say I'm an application developer building an application called Videogram. I want my users to be able to take a photograph or a video, send it to a backend, and then send a tweet out every time the new video is there, and then let other users of Videogram see that video on various other mobile platforms. You obviously need a backend for this, but you don't want to spend tens of thousands of dollars, you can't raise the money, you don't have the time, and you don't have the developers because you haven't hired them yet. This is my favorite part of the presentation. We're actually going to build something here. I hope it works. You come to Convey, you log in, you build your application called Videogram, and then the first thing you do is create a data set called users to store user information. Next, you create a data set called videos to store your videos, and we immediately auto-generate your backend, give you all the REST APIs that you need so that you can marshal data back and forth via JSON format. Step one. Next, you want to store that data and then deliver it to the mobile apps anytime, any place, all the time. To do that, we're the first back-end platform for mobile applications that actually live across clouds. So if one of them goes down, we're always up. For this example, let's pick Microsoft Windows Azure as our content delivery network for videos. We're done, and then finally, to send a tweet out, you tell us when you want to send out the tweet and what the message is, and we've now built an entire backend for Videogram in just a few minutes. We give the developer all the libraries they need so that they can just grab it, put it into the application code, and the library takes care of the fact that data is always available for the mobile application on the phone, so that the end user experience is flawless. When developers have started using Convey over the last few weeks, they've sort of put their hands up, and in fact, one of them told me something that my wife tells me every day. Where have you been all my life? We've taken something really, really hard and made it really, really simple. That's why we call it backend as a service. Morgan, our CTO, Ryan, our creative marketing director, and I all went to school together at the University of Texas at Austin. And one thing we learned at UT is that everything is bigger in Texas. We took that to heart, and over the last 10 years, we've all co-founded startups and worked in big companies where we've all done one thing in common. We've built software, sold software, and marketed software to millions of people across the world. We came up with the idea for Convey, and when we started TechStars, we wanted to launch our beta and have 30 apps on our platform. We released our beta on May 15th, and we already had 15 apps, and by the end of May, we were up to 40, and I'm proud to announce today that we have over 180 apps signed up for our beta. These apps are being built by individual app developers, large mobile dev shops, as well as enterprises who all want a cloud backend for their mobile applications. They're willing to pay us anywhere from $30 a month when their app goes live to thousands of dollars a month when they hit scale. And we're taking that business model and applying it and going after the 1.5 million new applications that are going to be built in the mobile world in the next 4 years. That's our market opportunity, so that we can go achieve our vision of being the largest cloud backend for mobile apps in the world. We're Convey, and we've built the first backend as a service so that we put the bass in badass. Thank you very much.
I think that's a great pitch. I love the whole backend as a service. It's funny. It's got great moments in it. You do a great job explaining the business. Just what are your, when you think back on that pitch, what are your reflections?
My first reflection was I was extremely nervous. And when you looked at the video in the first 15 seconds or so, you could have seen that I was stammering a little bit. I made a little faux pas. And then at that point, when I made that mistake, I just got into the zone. And at that point, I think all the nervousness went away. All the preparation that we've been doing for the last 30 days kicked in. At the same time, the big issue that we had at Convey, and Katie was always surprised by this, was we completely redid our pitch the day before. And so it was a brand new deck, brand new story, completely new words. And so I even ad-libbed about certain things like thanking my wife halfway through the pitch, as well as saying things like ass and backends at points that I wasn't supposed to. It was a funny time. I really enjoyed it. It was great. It was a great 8 minutes.
Well, you did a great job. The funding came together. You're building a great company. You've got this release coming out that everybody's looking forward to. Thanks so much for coming on the show and telling us about it. We'll look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Thanks, David. And remember, we got your back end.
Thanks, man. As a special treat, I'm going to show you the video where FakeGrimlock interviewed me at South by Southwest.
Yep.
Warning, it's a little weird. Here it is.
Me, Grimlock. Who the hell you?
Should I talk like you or should I just talk like myself?
Only if want to be more awesome.
Okay, I'll talk like me. David Cohen, nice to meet you.
Of course it is.
Your teeth are scary.
Yes, them sharp for eating. What you do?
What I do, I run this thing called TechStars. It's making me want to talk like you, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to hold off from talking like you, and I'm going to talk like me.
Restrain self from be awesome until later.
Exactly.
TechStars, it like Little League for big startups.
Big league for little start. You got that backwards. It's the other way around.
Tiny startups go in, come out big.
Exactly, exactly. Big heads, big money, big everything else.
It like that machine in Dr. Seuss. Starbelly Sneeches, only stamp VC on belly instead.
Exactly, exactly.
Read a book!
I'm trying to figure out the hands. That's the hardest part for me.
What about?
They're just sort of weird.
2 fingers, me robot, dinosaur.
How do you flip someone off with...
Like this.
I was pitched 40 times in the last 60 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
Me have better pitch. Watch this.
Okay.
Me, Grimlock, use Dino Brain. Come up with great idea. Here, Internet. It have 2 parts.
Yep.
Part 1, suck. Part 2, suck worse. Take part that only suck. Make awesome. Win. Other part, no one care.
This would be a big improvement, I agree.
When you write check.
I'll do it now.
Awesome. Put on table.
Is 100K enough? Because that's all I could do right now. Yeah,
It's
having
time.
just met you.
That how you do at South by Southwest. Learn something.
Can I give you a card?
Yes. Or else. Give me advice. How start up? Me already know, but want to hear anyway.
This internet thing that you're trying to fix, I think if you did that, it would be big. So I'm excited about it. How can I help? Actually, I'm here to help you.
Awesome. Step 1, give big check. Step 2, get out of way.
Okay, I guess we're done then.
That how real startups roll!
So
Just in
Bats
case.
don't fix
you
lice.
have here your participant trophy, Project Goats. You look so hot.
Thank you. And Goats is?
Grimlock overtakes Austin, Texas with Shelby.
I'm seriously worried about what was in Tish's hair before you gave me this. You want me to actually walk around South by with this thing?
Yeah, man, tweet a picture out. Sure.
Okay. Sweet. Check's in the mail, man.
Awesome.
I would shake your hand, but it scares me.
As I mentioned, it's a little weird. Don't forget to apply to TechStars. You can still apply to the Seattle program. That's our show this week. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time this week in TechStars.
Read a book.
We were at this restaurant in Breckenridge. I had my family up there, and my wife's family
Wait, when was
flew
this?
in just like a few days ago, like 3 or 4 days ago. And we're ordering dinner, and my wife asked the waiter to describe the chicken. So the waiter says, you know, it's a chicken breast.
He did this?
Just like that. And we're like,
Was he trying to be funny?
no.
See
He
what
said, no, it's just a chicken breast. And then I was like, dude, that's not a... Whatever.
Love it.